What if the person smiling at you across the dinner table was quietly setting a trap? Ethan believed love was simple. You meet the right person. You choose them every day. You stay loyal. That was it. No games. No secrets. Just Claire. Always Claire. They had been married for 2 years. Their house sat on a quiet street outside Seattle, with tall pine trees and a small porch where they drank coffee on Sundays. Life was not flashy, but it was steady. Ethan worked as a project manager for a tech company. Claire was a nurse, kind and patient, the type of person who remembered strangers' names. They laughed easily. They argued rarely. They trusted fully, or at least Ethan thought so. Claire's mother, Margaret, had always been polite to him. She never raised her voice. Never insulted him. But there was something in her eyes. Something measuring. Like she was waiting for a crack to show. When Claire got accepted into a 3-week nursing seminar in Chicago, she was excited and nervous. It was a big step for her career. Ethan encouraged her. He packed her suitcase with her. He drove her to the airport before sunrise. In the parking lot, she held his face in her hands. 3 weeks will fly by, she said. I'll count the days, he replied. She smiled. But when she hugged him goodbye, her grip felt tighter than usual. The house felt too quiet that night. Ethan turned on the TV just to hear voices. He made pasta for dinner and left half of it untouched. He texted Claire a photo of the empty chair across from him. She sent back a heart emoji and a selfie from her hotel room. The first 2 days passed slowly. Work filled the hours. Evenings stretched long. On the 3rd night, Ethan's phone buzzed with a message request on Instagram. The name read, Lily Harper. Her profile picture showed a young woman in her late 20s, brown hair falling over her shoulders, soft smile, standing near a lake. Nothing dramatic. Just normal. The message was casual. Hey, random question. Didn't we meet at Daniel's barbecue last summer? Ethan frowned. He tried to remember. Daniel had hosted several parties. It was possible. I don't think so, he replied. But maybe I forgot. Sorry if I did. She answered quickly. No worries. I might have the wrong Ethan. Small town problems. He smiled slightly and put the phone down. That should have been the end. But the next evening, she messaged again. So you're Claire's husband, right? She's so sweet. That caught his attention. Yes, that's me, he typed. You know Claire? Not really. I've seen her around. The conversation stayed light. She asked about his job. He asked what she did. Marketing. Recently moved back to town. Looking for new friends. It felt harmless still, something in him felt unsure. He told himself it was nothing. Social media was full of random connections. 2 days later, she suggested coffee, just to clear up whether we met or not, she wrote with a laughing emoji. Ethan stared at the message. He hesitated. Claire was gone. He was alone most evenings. It would be nice to talk to someone face to face. It wasn't a date. It wasn't secret. It was coffee. He typed, erased, typed again, sure. Public place. Tomorrow afternoon? Perfect, she replied almost instantly. The cafe downtown was crowded and bright. Ethan arrived first. He chose a table near the window. When Lily walked in, she looked just like her photo. Calm. Friendly. Confident. Ethan, she asked. That's me. They shook hands. The conversation flowed easily. She laughed at his jokes. She asked thoughtful questions about Claire. About how they met. About marriage. Long distance must be hard, she said, stirring her coffee. It's only 3 weeks, he replied. We'll be fine. You must miss her. Of course. She smiled in a way he couldn't fully read. The meeting lasted less than an hour. Nothing inappropriate. No touching. No flirting that crossed a line. Still, when Ethan walked to his car, he felt watched. Across the street, parked under a maple. tree sat a silver sedan he recognized. Margaret's car. His stomach tightened. As if on cue, the driver's door opened. Margaret stepped out, pretending to check her phone. She looked up and acted surprised. "Oh. Ethan. I didn't see you there." He forced a smile. "Hi, Margaret. What are you doing downtown?" "Oh, errands," she said lightly. "And you?" "Coffee." "With?" He paused half a second too long. "Someone who thought we met before." "Just clearing it up." Margaret nodded slowly. "Well. That's nice." Her eyes didn't match her smile. They exchanged brief goodbyes. Ethan drove home, hands tight on the steering wheel. That night, Lily sent a message. "Had fun today. You're easy to talk to." He replied politely, "Thanks. Take care." But she kept going. "We should hang out again. Maybe dinner?" He stared at the screen. Dinner felt different from coffee. He didn't answer. Instead, he opened his gallery and scrolled through pictures of Claire. Their wedding day. Her messy hair on lazy Sundays. The way she laughed with her whole face. His chest ached with longing. Another message popped up. "You seem quiet. Everything okay?" He locked the phone. That same moment, across town, Margaret sat in her living room, staring at her own phone. She had received a message too. "It went well," Lily had written. "He seems loyal. But I'll keep trying." Margaret set the phone down slowly. Her expression was not angry. It was determined. Back in the quiet blue house, Ethan lay awake in bed, staring at the ceiling. Something felt off. Too many coincidences. Too many questions about Claire. Too much timing. He didn't know it yet, but he had just stepped into a carefully planned test and the clock had started ticking. How far would someone go to prove you weren't good enough? The morning after coffee, Ethan told himself it was over. One meeting. Simple. Done. But by noon, his phone buzzed again. "Lily, hope your day's going well. I keep thinking about our talk." He stared at the screen. He could ignore it. He should ignore it. Instead, he replied with a short message about work being busy. Nothing personal. Nothing inviting. Still, she answered within seconds. "You seem focused." "That's rare." The words felt like bait. Over the next few days, the messages continued. Short. Friendly. Too consistent to be random. She asked about his routine. When he usually got home. What he did on weekends while Claire was away. Each question sounded harmless alone. Together, they felt like a pattern. One evening she sent, "Do you ever feel strange being alone in that house?" Ethan paused. "It's temporary," he wrote back. "Claire will be home soon." 3 weeks can change things, she replied. He didn't like that sentence. That same night, Claire called from Chicago. Her voice was tired but warm. She told him about her classes, the hospital tours, the long days. He listened carefully, smiling at the sound of her laughter. "I miss you," she said softly. "I miss you more." He almost mentioned Lily. Almost. But it felt unnecessary. Why worry her over something small? After the call ended, his phone buzzed again. "Lily, are you always this loyal?" He frowned. "What do you mean? Most guys don't talk about their wives the way you do." He felt a shift in tone. The line had moved. "I'm married," he wrote clearly. "That's important to me." A few minutes passed. "Relax," she replied. "It's just conversation." But the next day she called him instead of texting. He hesitated before answering. "Hey," she said, voice soft. "I was near your neighborhood. Thought maybe we could grab dinner." "No," he said quickly. "That's not a good idea." Silence filled the line. "Because of Claire?" "Yes." There was a small sigh. "You're stronger than most." The compliment felt heavy. Unwanted. After he hung up, Ethan paced the living room. Something inside him felt uneasy. Why was she pushing? Why did it feel like she wanted him to slip? 2 days later, Margaret invited him to dinner. "Just checking in," she said sweetly over the phone. "You must be lonely." He almost declined. But saying no would seem suspicious. So he agreed. Margaret's house looked the same as always. Neat. Quiet. Family photos lined the walls. Claire's childhood captured in frames. At the dinner table, Margaret watched him carefully. "How are you managing alone?" she asked. "I'm fine." "No late nights? No parties?" He gave a small smile. "I'm not that exciting." Her eyes narrowed slightly. "And friends? Anyone new in your life?" The question felt too direct. "Not really." She held his gaze a second too long. Then nodded. After dinner, as he walked to his car, his phone buzzed again. A photo from Lily. She was standing by a lakeside at sunset. The caption read, "Wish you were here. It's beautiful tonight." He didn't respond. Instead, he drove home faster than usual. Inside the quiet house, he sat on the couch and opened his wedding album. The images felt real. Solid. Unshakable. He remembered Claire's hands trembling during their vows. The way she had looked at him like he was her safest place. His chest tightened. Another message came through. "Silence can mean many things," Lily wrote. This time, he answered clearly, "It means I respect my marriage. I think it's best we stop talking." The typing bubble appeared immediately. "Wow. So serious." "Yes," he replied. "I am." Several minutes passed, then one final message, "You'll regret not taking chances." He didn't answer. He blocked her. For the first time in days, the house felt quiet in a peaceful way, but the calm didn't last. The next afternoon, Claire called unexpectedly. Her voice sounded different. "Ethan, can I ask you something?" "Of course. Have you met anyone lately? Like, new friends?" His heart skipped. "Why?" "Mom said you seemed distracted when she saw you." He swallowed. "When did she see me?" "She mentioned running into you downtown." Pieces started to connect in his mind. The cafe. The parked car. The questions at dinner. He chose his words carefully. "I had coffee with someone who thought we met before. That's it. I told her not to contact me again." Claire was quiet. "Her name isn't Lily, is it?" His breath caught. "How do you know that?" There was a long pause on the line. "Mom knows someone named Lily." The room felt smaller. "What exactly did she tell you?" he asked. "She said sometimes men show who they really are when their wives aren't around." Ethan felt something sharp in his chest. Not guilt. Not fear. Hurt. "I haven't done anything wrong," he said steadily. "I know," Claire whispered. "I think I know." But uncertainty lingered in her voice. After the call ended, Ethan sat still, staring at the wall. It wasn't random. It wasn't coincidence. He replayed every moment. The first message. The push for dinner. Margaret's questions. Claire's sudden doubt. Someone had been watching, testing, waiting for him to fail. His phone buzzed one last time. A message from an unknown number. "You surprised me." No name. No photo, just those 3 words. Ethan's jaw tightened. He typed back one sentence. "Tell Margaret I won't be part of her experiment." The message showed as delivered. No reply came. Across town, Margaret sat in her quiet living room, staring at her phone. Her expression was unreadable. For 3 weeks, she had planned every move, and now, the game was no longer hidden. But the real question remained, would trust survive what had already been shaken? What hurts more, being tempted, or knowing someone wanted you to fail? Ethan did not sleep that night. The message from the unknown number stayed in his mind. "You surprised me." It was short, but it confirmed everything. This was never random. This was planned. And if it was planned, there was only one person who could be behind it. The next morning, he drove straight to Margaret's house. He didn't call first. He didn't want excuses prepared. When she opened the door, she looked calm, almost expecting him. "Ethan," she said softly. "Come in." He stepped inside but did not sit down. "We need to talk," he said. Margaret closed the door carefully. "I figured." He pulled out his phone and placed it on the table between them. The messages from Lily were still there, even though he had blocked her. "Who is she?" he asked directly. Margaret's eyes dropped to the screen. She did not pretend anymore. "She's a friend's daughter," she said after a pause. "And? I asked her to message you." The room felt colder. You set this up, Ethan said. Not a question. A statement, yes. The honesty shocked him more than denial would have. For 3 weeks, he asked. Margaret nodded once. He ran a hand through his hair, trying to stay calm. Why? Her face changed. The calm mask slipped. Because I needed to know who you are. You could have asked me. Men lie, she said quickly. They promise. They swear. And then they break everything. He looked at her carefully. I'm not your husband. Her jaw tightened. No. But you're married to my daughter. Silence filled the space. Margaret walked to the window, staring outside as if replaying old memories. My husband cheated on me after 10 years. 10 years. I trusted him completely. I will not let Claire live that story. Ethan felt the anger inside him soften, but not disappear. So you decided to test me? I needed proof. And if I failed? Her voice dropped. Then I would have warned her before it was too late. The words cut deep. You wanted me to fail, Ethan said quietly. Margaret turned back to him. Her eyes were tired. Part of me expected you to. That honesty hurt more than the test itself. He thought about the coffee. The messages. The photo by the lake. The push for dinner. Every moment had been designed to see how far he would go. You watched, he asked. Yes. From the cafe? Yes. You told Claire things to make her doubt me? Margaret hesitated. I asked questions. Ethan laughed softly, but there was no humor in it. You planted doubt. Margaret didn't answer for a moment. Neither of them spoke. Then she said, you never crossed the line. That's not an achievement, he replied. That's normal. But not common, she said quietly. Ethan stepped back, creating space between them. Marriage isn't a test you spring on someone. It's trust. And you broke that. Margaret looked shaken for the first time. I did what I thought was right. No, he said firmly. You did what fear told you to do. The truth hung heavy in the room. His phone buzzed. Claire. He stared at the screen, then answered. Hi, she said, her voice fragile. Mom told me everything. He closed his eyes briefly. And? She said she asked someone to see if you'd cheat. She didn't see. She pushed. Claire's breathing was uneven. Did you? Did I what? Feel tempted? The question was honest. Raw. He didn't lie. I felt uncomfortable. I felt confused. But I never wanted anyone else. There was silence on the line. I'm sorry, Claire whispered. I didn't know she would go that far. That's not the point, he said gently. Did you trust me? Claire didn't answer right away. That's what scares me, she admitted. For a second, when she hinted at things, I felt doubt. Not because of you. Because of her history. It got in my head. Ethan's chest tightened. The test had not just targeted him. It had planted fear in Claire too. I choose you, he said slowly. Every day. Not because I'm being watched. Not because I'm tested. But because I want to. Claire began to cry softly. I know. After the call ended, Ethan looked at Margaret. She deserves peace, he said. I was trying to give her that. No. You were trying to control it. Margaret sank into a chair. For the first time, she looked small. Not powerful. Not strategic. Just human. I don't know how to trust, she admitted. That's your work, Ethan replied. Not ours. He walked toward the door, then stopped. For what it's worth, he added, you didn't prove I'm loyal. You proved you're afraid. The door closed behind him. Outside, the air felt sharper. Clearer. He drove home slowly, thinking about everything. 3 weeks of messages. 3 weeks of being observed. 3 weeks of someone waiting for him to slip. And yet, what hurt most was not the temptation. It was knowing someone believed he would fail. That night, Claire called again. I'm coming home early, she said. His heart lifted slightly. You don't have to. I want to. There was strength in her voice now. We need to face this together, she continued. Not through my mom. Not through tests. Just us. He nodded, even though she couldn't see him okay. After they hung up, Ethan stood in the quiet living room. The house felt different now. Not empty. Not peaceful, just waiting. Margaret had confessed, the truth was out, but something fragile had cracked, and when Claire walked through that door tomorrow, one question would still remain: had the test only revealed loyalty, or had it exposed deeper doubt between them? When trust cracks, can love still stand strong? Claire stepped off the plane, pulling her suitcase behind her. Seattle felt different this time. The air was sharper, heavier, almost full of questions she hadn't expected to ask herself. She spotted Ethan waiting by the arrivals gate. His posture was tense, shoulders slightly forward, eyes scanning for her first. The moment she saw him, all her fear and uncertainty seemed to collide with longing. She ran into his arms. He held her tightly. Neither spoke at first, the weight of the past 3 weeks pressing silently between them. Welcome home, he finally whispered. Claire smiled, though a trace of guilt lingered. It feels strange, everything happened while I was away. Ethan nodded, understanding. I know. I'm glad you're here now. They walked through the city streets hand in hand. Traffic buzzed around them, strangers passing by, but it felt like they were in a bubble. She glanced up at him. I should have stopped her. You didn't know, Ethan said gently. You couldn't have. Claire shook her head. I did. I knew she didn't fully trust you. And part of me. I feared she'd push too far. He stopped walking and faced her. Did you ever doubt me? His voice was soft, careful, her eyes glistened. Just a little. Not because of you, but because of everything else. Mom. Her past. I didn't know if she'd ruin us with her tests. Ethan reached for her hands. This isn't about deserving loyalty or tests. It's about choice. And I choose you. Always. Claire leaned into him, relief washing over her. But a shadow lingered in her eyes. Trust had been shaken, even if nothing had been broken. Back at home, they found Margaret sitting in the living room. Her posture was stiff, the weight of the confrontation with Ethan still evident in her face. Claire took a deep breath. Mom, we need to talk. Margaret looked up, almost startled. I know, she said quietly. You can't control my marriage, Claire said softly but firmly. You can't protect me by testing him. We need to live our own lives, make our own choices. Margaret swallowed hard, emotions threatening to spill. I was protecting you. No, Claire corrected gently. You were protecting your past. You were afraid of being hurt again. But I'm not you, Mom. I need to trust Ethan for myself, not because you told me to. Margaret's eyes glistened with unshed tears. She nodded slowly. I'm sorry. I thought I was doing the right thing. Ethan stepped forward, placing a hand on Margaret's shoulder. She is right. You have to let go. You've tested enough. Margaret looked at him, searching for anger, disappointment, anything, but all she found was calm. Respect. Something she hadn't expected. Days passed. Life returned to a fragile normal. Ethan and Claire rebuilt the quiet routines that had defined their life before the seminar. Coffee in the mornings, walks in the park, late-night talks about dreams and fears. Trust had been tested, shaken, and now had a new depth, a raw honesty neither of them wanted to take for granted. One evening, Claire found Ethan on the porch, fixing the porch light. He was humming softly, lost in thought. She leaned against the doorframe, watching him quietly. He looked up and smiled. Hey. Long day? You've been busy, she replied, smiling back. And I've been away, imagining all the ways my mother might be testing you without me knowing. He chuckled softly. She tried. And I passed. You did more than that, Claire said. You showed me how strong we really are. Even when fear and doubt surrounded us, we chose each other. Ethan set down his tools and pulled her into his arms. We did. And that's what matters. They laughed softly, a sound full of relief and warmth. But deep down, both knew the truth: trust had been shaken, and it had survived, but it required vigilance, honesty, and courage to keep it alive. Margaret, across town, sat by her window that night. The city lights twinkled faintly, and her fingers traced the frame of a photograph of her younger self, married, hopeful, betrayed. She had let go enough to allow Claire and Ethan to rebuild their love. But inside her, a question lingered. Could she ever fully trust again? Or was this only the beginning of learning how to face fear without controlling others? Meanwhile, Ethan and Claire sat together in the blue house, hands entwined, hearts synchronized. Outside, the night felt calm, but inside them, a quiet awareness lingered. Love was not only about passion or comfort, it was about choosing each other every single day, even when shadows tried to creep in. Claire rested her head on Ethan's shoulder. Do you think we're stronger now? Ethan held her closer. We are. But only if we never forget what happened. Only if we choose honesty and trust over fear, every single day. She nodded, eyes closing briefly. I'll remember. Always. A gentle silence settled over them. The house was quiet, peaceful, and full of possibility. The past 3 weeks had tested them, but they had survived together. The lesson was clear: love could withstand doubt, distance, and even secret tests, but only if both hearts remained committed, patient, and brave. And though Margaret's fears had shaped part of the journey, she now had to learn the hardest lesson herself: letting go of control does not mean letting go of love. Ethan kissed Claire's forehead. No more tests, he said softly. Claire smiled, resting her head back. No more tests. Just us. Outside, the city was still awake. But in the quiet blue house, a new chapter began, one built on trust earned, love proven, and a future they would face together, stronger than before. Yet as the night deepened, Margaret looked at the city skyline from her window once more. She whispered to herself, almost as a question, had I truly let go of my fear, or am I still learning to trust? The answer was unknown. But for Ethan and Claire, the path ahead felt clear. They had survived the trial, and nothing, not doubt, distance, or even careful manipulation, could undo the bond they had fought to protect.